How's everyone doing? You alright? It's Cody there, I'm back. If you subscribe to my channel, you know what I'm about. If you don't subscribe to my channel, my name's Cody Lachey. I'm a reformed criminal. I now do interviews on things I've got experience of: gun crime, knife crime, gangs, prison issues, prison reform, policing levels, drugs, legalise, and all that stuff. I'm here today to talk about the prison crisis which is currently upon us. I did an interview a few days ago with local media about as a former prisoner on the staffing crisis within prisons. From a prisoner's perspective, I mean, it's beyond a joke. I mean, there's less and less prison officers year on year. More overcrowded prisons. You've got more like dangerous, violent, volatile inmates, right? That are being locked behind the doors for longer periods of time because there are not the numbers of prison officers to safely control, maintain and police the lads. Now, I'm for the prisoners, do you know what I mean? But because there are less and less prison officers within prisons and stuff, prison officers claiming they don't feel safe and stuff like that, it's just like, it has a domino effect, right? And unfortunately for the prisoners, shit rolls downhill. And unfortunately for the prisoners, as a former prisoner, we're at the bottom of that hill. The government cutbacks, the Ministry of Chair, obviously that's tied the hands of the Ministry of Justice. I don't want more prison officers in general, but we have to accept that if there are more prison officers, the lads will get more association, because as it stands at the moment, the lads are behind the doors for, like, I'm talking about Cat A prison now, I'm talking about Strangeways, right? The only Cat A prison in the Northwest, right? And I'm a former inmate there. Now, the lads are locked up 22, 23 hours a day anyway. You're lucky if you get an hour exercise, an hour association, right? That's a fact. But with less and less prison officers now, I'm speaking to some of the lads in jail, and they're behind the doors in excess of 24 hours. The longest I think I was spent behind my door in Strangeways was about 36, 38 hours, 40 hours, because there was a staffing crisis. And like I say, they're going on about violence and stuff and violent attacks on fucking prison officers, right? Well, that goes two ways, right? The screws twist the lads up and smash the lads up, right? Because they're pissed off the fact that there's not enough screws, and they're just angry, and some of them are just out and out bullies, right? And they attack the lads, and then the lads have got long memories, and the lads that have not been attacked by screws, they're pissed off that they've been locked behind the doors for 24, 36, 38, 40 hours because there's not the numbers of staff to safely control the lads. But when you can't get out your cell, the knock-on effect, people just think, oh, well, you're locked behind your door for a day and a half. That's nothing, right? Some of these lads have got mental health issues, right? Some of these lads have got family members that are elderly, and they've got kids that they want to speak to on the phone and stuff. If you're locked behind your door, right, and you can't get to the phone down on the landing, like down on the ones, like the bottom landing, you can't ring your family, you can't speak to your friends, you can't speak to your family. You might have relatives that are sick and ill. And then, so you're fuming, you're behind your door for long periods of time, so you clearly are pissed off, and you are going to go mad, you know what I mean? And it's not fair on the lads, but again, it's the government that have tied the hands of the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice hands have tied, and then you see people like the Prison Officers Association piping up like the prisoners are running the prison. Everything that I said in the interview the other day with Granada Reports on ITV, the Prison Officer Association said exactly the same things I said. We're both singing off the same hymn sheet. Now, like I said, I'm fighting for prisoners, me. He's fighting, he wants more prison officers because they don't feel safe and all this shit, right? And then I'm fighting for prisoners because I want better treatment for prisoners. I want them to get more association. I want them to get more exercise. And unfortunately, we have to concede in the argument that we do need more prison officers. Like I say, I'm for prisoners, but we've got to concede that, because if they've got more prison officers, you're going to get your association and you're going to get your exercise, that's how it should be. No prisoner should be. It's a breach of a prisoner's human rights not to be able to use the phone, not to be able to communicate with his family and things like that. And another thing what pisses me off as well is the fact of, because of the cutbacks and stuff and the shortages of staff within prisons, what it leads on to is like delayed. You're getting like, right, everyone that's in prison, right, is not from Manchester. People, if you've travelled from like Newcastle to commit crime in Manchester and you get banged up in a Manchester prison, your family is travelling from Newcastle, right? 2, 3, 4 hour drive, do you know what I mean, right? Now, because what's happening when they get into the prison, by the time that when you're coming on a visit to see like a loved one or your family or your boyfriend or whatever, right, and you travel to the prison, right, it's taking you 15, 20 minutes to clear security. And then you're being held, and then you've got the sniffer dog. So by the time you get upstairs, what I'm saying is, because of the staff shortages, you're getting like you're supposed to have an hour visit a week, right? If you're convicted, you get 1 hour a week, yeah. And you're not even getting that. You're getting about 45 minutes, 40 minutes, because by the time your family and friends have cleared security and stuff and got up, and then they've queued up to get food and stuff for you, because the queue's that big and it's backed up, and by the time you served and you sat down, you're probably talking 35, 40 minutes, like max, and it's not right for the lads at all. I mean, the visits are a big morale boost for prisoners. They need that. You need to have your friends and family come visit you. And if your family have travelled 3 or 4 hours, 2, 3 hours from Newcastle to Manchester to visit you, I know you can get extended visits and all that, but you've got to put in for them, and they get knocked back and stuff and things like that. But yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong on the lads, and it has a detrimental effect on the mental health and the mood and stuff. And then, like I say, and then they go back behind the door. Right, so then the smash behind the door again for 24, 36 hours, 38 hours. It's a fucking joke. And then screws wonder why the lads are fuming and kicking the shit out of the cell door and going like kicking off and stuff when they're released, because they are in effect caged animals, right? And you get screws that like they'll wind you up, they'll come past your cell, they'll make a comment and stuff. Oh, you're not fucking getting out and stuff. So it winds the lads up. It's like prodding a lion or a tiger with a stick. And he's caged up and he's sat in his cell, and it's fucking the windows are so thick, and with the hot weather at the moment and stuff, it magnifies the heat into the room. You've got no protection. You can't put anything over your window because it's a security breach and all this fucking shit that they say. You know how it is, people. So yeah, it's absolutely disgraceful, to be honest. They need more prison officers. The lads should have access to social media. Obviously, I know that's got to be controlled, because then you can get into the realms of like people like witness intimidation and all that sort of stuff. But as it like Skype, things like that, things where they can see the friends and family and speak to them, I think it'd lower violence within prisons. I think it'd lower people kicking off and stuff. I really do believe that. Like the lads, there's a lot of good lads in prison, a lot of good lads, and like I say, some of them, they live for the kids and the family, right? And like I say, if you're not allowed out your cell, you can't get on the phone to ring them. And then, like I say, when you let out and you ring your family, right, you don't just go downstairs and you walk straight to the phone and you ring. There's a queue. And you've got a few hundred, like you've got 100, 200 people on a wing, right? You're queuing up to get the call in. And some people, like, will be on the phone 15, 20, 25 minutes, right? And sometimes you're only out for an hour, and there's only like 2 or 3 phones on a wing. On the outers and the inners and stuff at Strangeways and stuff, and sometimes the phone's broke, so then you've got 2 phones and you've got that many, like you've got like over 100 lads like trying to make like frantic calls to the friends and family, and then they become wound up that they can't make the calls, and then they're like, oh, get off the fucking phone, it's my fucking turn. And then it's turned, the anger is towards the prison officers as well, because it comes out like that because they see the authority and they see the uniform and stuff, and that's why they go mad. The prison officers don't help themselves a lot of the time. Some of them have swapped the personality for a fucking set of keys. But the prison system has long time been, it's a powder keg. It's a pressure. The pressure's building and building and building. And I think it's going to go. And I think people are going to see widespread disorder throughout prisons here in the UK. I don't want that to happen, but I think if it does happen, it would highlight the problem's already been highlighted by the media, but I think if the prisoners took action, that would then speak volumes and send shockwaves. The fucking government don't care. Like I say, for all the bad screws as well, there are good screws within prisons as well. I got on with some of them. From strange ways, I went to Forest Bank. Never had a problem with a screw there, apart from a female, because she was up her own arse, right, little slag. We didn't get on. But apart from that, they had a job to do. I was polite and respectful, because my attitude was, if I'm polite and respectful and I need something and I ask for it, I'll get it, and I did. Sometimes I didn't want to. I just bit my tongue and was like, right, yes boss, no boss, 3 bags full boss. I used to get what I wanted, which was brilliant for me. But the prison officers are overstretched, massively understaffed, undertrained, very, 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 very low morale. And if the lads wanted to take over, it's the strongest time for the lads to take over. Screws. This is what pisses me off, right? Screws will give the lads a kicking, or a lad a kicking. The lad will remember it, and then he'll target this officer, right? Because obviously he wants revenge, right? So he'll get the officer back, and then what happens, right? There's a compensation culture within prison officers. There is with prisoners as well to an extent, but I won't go into that right now. But what the prison officers do, if they are assaulted, they go on the sick for 6 to 8 weeks, straight to the doctor. Doctor, I'm anxious. I'm scared to go back to work. Prison's not safe for us. We're outnumbered. We're understaffed. We've got low morale. We're overworked. We're all the usual stuff, right? And they go off work, and then they put a compensation claim in. That's what they do. They put compensation claims in. Against the Ministry of Justice and like with external like companies and stuff, to seek money. But it's so and this is another thing that pisses. This is why I do. People say to me, right, and I want to address this. People keep saying to me, why do you keep going on TV and speaking about issues about prison and prison reforms, right? This is why, right? If I'm in prison now and a screw attacks me, right, and then I go on a visit and my eye's out here, right, and my family say, what happened? And I say, oh, like a screw turned me over, twisted me up, whatever, right? Your family could then ring the media. The media have got to validate that story. They've got to prove it. So they ring the prison, right? The prison, they speak to the press room at the prison, and the prison say, whoa, we don't discuss individual cases we don't discuss cases for individual prisoners, right? So what they do by that, they let you know that something's going on, but we're going to put a blanket canvas across all prisons. This is what they do, so that the story can't get out, right? Fact, right? Trust me, fact. Now, what happens on the back of that is if a prison officer gets attacked by a lad, right, and he's got a shank and he cuts the prison officer, he slits his throat, he stabs him, whatever. It's front page news. It's all over the media. It's all over the radio. It's all over the nationals. Prison officer gets attacked by convicted murderer, convicted fraudster, gets stabbed and stuff. So hold on. So you can give the lads a kicking, and you brush that under the carpet because you don't want it to get out, because you know that it causes uproar and that there'd be widespread disorder throughout prisons because the prisoners won't take it. But as soon as a lad retaliates and gets a prison officer back, the prison officer runs to the newspapers and screams from the top of the jail, oh, I've been assaulted, I've been attacked, the thugs, they're dangerous, they shouldn't be released, we run the prisons, and all this bullshit. Just a load of fucking shite. But yeah, like I say, the facts, because of the staffing crisis within prison and the shortages of prison officers, it means that the lads are not getting association when they should, or at all, some days. That visits, people are travelling from all over the UK to go and visit the loved ones and the fellas and the family in prison, and they get in, by the time they clear security, they're travelling 2 or 3 hours to come to Manchester for a visit, and then because by the time they've cleared security and sat down with the loved one, they're getting like 35, 40 minutes, right? Which is disgusting. It's a joke. It takes longer to clear security than it does. It takes longer to clear security than it does for you to get your visit, and that's just not acceptable. It really, really, really isn't. And the Ministry of Justice and the prison officers wonder why the lads are angry. They're pent up. Like I say, they've been locked behind the doors for long periods of times in the sweltering heat. And it obviously causes widespread problems within the prison, and it does cause anger and violence. But like I say, I speak out for prisoners so I can give prisoners a voice, so they don't suffer in silence, because it happens for too long. And I love being able to do these interviews and stuff, because it gives me a chance to show the prison system for what it is, and also like stick up for the lads and bring attention to the lads' plight and stuff, and the lads suffering behind the doors and stuff. Because I know a lot of the lads watch like the news and stuff on TV on a night when they're locked behind the door and stuff. So I use it for that experience. But the prison officers do a very difficult job in very difficult circumstances with a very limited budget of an economic climate not of their making. But like I say, I'm for the prisoners. I've got to balance my argument, right? And like I say, as it stands now, would I like more prison officers? Unfortunately, more prison officers, I'd hope, would lead to more exercise association for the lads, and that's the aim of the game. Keep up the fight for prisoners and speak out on prisoners and give them a voice, and yeah, things like that. But listen, anyway, guys, I've spoken for too long. I've rambled on. Thank you very much for your time. Subscribe to my channel, share it. Follow me on Twitter at Cody, Cody Lachey, Lachey. Thanks a lot, guys. God bless. Take care. Bye.